Shalom, shalom wa ahava, mishpachah, shalom wa ahava. Peace and love, family, peace and love. It's your Agmaraya ben Yaounde. Nere ben Yahuda ben Yasharal. Whatever your dialect may be, may I say shalom to you all. To the whole house of Yasharal, all 12 tribes scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, to wherever we've been driven on those slave ships to the lands of our captivity. Shalom, mishpachah, shalom. Yeah, today's message, like any other message, I really don't know how popular it will be amongst the people, or if it's gonna ruffle a few feathers and maybe even kick some of our people in the Israelite community, the so-called black, so-called African American community. It may even kick some of us in our chest. But this thing gets tiptoed around, and me being a former artist myself, is something that I recognize being in that world. And it became blatantly apparent to me when I began this walk. And that is the spirit behind battle rap. Mishpachah, it is a curse. It is a curse. The spirit behind battle rapping is a curse. The spirit behind modern day hip hop as a whole is nothing more than Satanism. And we've been tiptoeing around the Luciferian satanic aspects of hip hop for a long time. Even in my own life, man, you can go back and you can take it back to Snoop making a deal with the devil in the song Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me. DMX made a brother pull through what he's going through right now, but he also said it's dark and hell is hot. Lil Wayne, back when I was in my days of being in the streets and in the clubs, Lil Wayne had a song, as long as my bees love me, and he said something like, these women love me like they love Satan. See, so we can't be surprised at what has resulted in Little Nas X twirling his little fruity behind down a stripper pole to give the Baphomet Hasatan, the adversary, a lap dance. We should not be surprised. This is just the end result of us looking the other way at the Satanism and at the wicked spirit, which is a curse that is in hip hop. Now, let's talk with a little bit of scriptures. If you go to Matthew, if you go to the book of Matthew 22, I believe it's 22:36. Go to Matthew, and you look at what Yeshua says when they asked him what was the greatest commandment in the Torah. They asked him, what is the greatest commandment in the Torah? If you go to Mediyahu, Matthew, chapter 22, and we'll start at verse 34. And it says, but the Pharisees, having heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, were gathered together. And one of them, one learned in the Torah, questioned, trying him and saying, Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah? And Yahusha said to him, you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your mind. This is the first and great command. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commands hang all the Torah and the Nevi'im. Hang all the Torah and the Nevi'im. So pretty much if you following the 613 laws that were laid down by Yahuwah to Moshe to break up the divine law of the nation of Yasharel, it would all sum up to loving the Most High with all your heart, your being, all your might, and treating your brother as you treat yourself. Loving your brother as you love yourself. That's what the whole Torah, that's the spirit behind the Torah. That's the spirit behind the letters of the law. Okay? And this will show you why we on our highway to hell, and why stuff like Lil Nas X is popping off, and why and stuff like battle rapping is some of the most popular stuff in our community, when all of this stuff has been set up by adversaries to bring us down. But let me show you how this is a curse. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. One of the first chapters when an Israelite tries to wake up their people, one of the first things they tell them to do, they tell them, read Deuteronomy 28 and tell me who else on earth it has been through and is going through what's in that book. But the spirit and the curse of battle rap is there. Deuteronomy 28, 54. If you look at Devarim, more commonly known as Deuteronomy 28, verse 54, and it reads on this wise. The man among you who is tender and who is very delicate, his eye is evil against his brother, against the wife of his bosom, and against the rest of his children who he leaves behind. See, so that's a curse. When a brother who got his stuff together, let's take a trip to the club that we've all been to mentally, because we don't go there no more. We don't deal with revelry and wild parties. Israelites don't go to clubs, strip clubs, and all this other stuff, contrary to common belief. Like these riffraff Sakari done went out there and made a tragic mistake and putting a black mark, or I ain't gonna say black mark, I was gonna put something negative with the term black, or put a negative mark on the whole house of Israel. So let us clear that up. No, we don't believe in no revelry. But let's take a trip back into all of our past and think about how when you was a man or woman, but I'm speaking from a male perspective, and you had your stuff together and you walk into a situation, you walk into a club, or you walk into whatever, and then that battle rap spirit rails up in the insecure men around. Man, look, who this Negro? Who this dude? Oh, this dude think he's sweet. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's that spirit of wickedness. See what I'm saying? Because that man didn't come up to you and say, hey, man, I think I'm sweet. No, you said that in your mind because you are envious and jealous, which is a basic command. You should not covet thy brother. But that's the spirit behind battle rapping. See, when you get up there to tear each other down, those things manifest themselves physically, which is why we're dealing with so much Israelite on Israelite crime, black on black crime. Why it's an epidemic in our community of us killing ourselves. And it goes right back to the curses, something as basic as Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Okay? Now, shortly before I get out of here, let me show you how a lot of us ain't gonna make it, Mishpachah. Let's go to who the Christian church loves, which is Shaul, which many of them ain't even mature enough to be reading Shaul because they misuse and twist his words to try to justify not keeping the commandments of Yah. When all Shaul is doing, when he is put into proper context, historical context, biblical context, all he is doing is reinforcing what's being said in the Torah to people who were not at that time living under the Torah that he was trying to bring back through the blood of the Messiah. But somebody got to teach you all that. And the Christian church has an agenda and money to be made. And a part of teaching people that 95% of the Bible is written to a nation of people called Yasharel, who went into bondage in foreign lands through the conspiracy, the worldwide conspiracy led by the Roman church, which turned into the transatlantic slave trade. Ain't no money in that. Matter of fact, they might lose their 501c3. But I'm going to read some out of Galatians. Galatium, more formally known as Galatians. We're going to read out of Galatians, out of the Brit Kadashah, or more commonly known as the New Testament. And as I read this, I want you to reflect in your mind the condition of your people, the current condition of your people. I want you to think about the people out there following down behind Nicki Minaj and following down behind Megan Thee Stallion and following down behind Cardi B and following down behind Lil Nas X and following down behind all the wicked rappers that's out there right now. I don't even know half their daggone names. Most of them Lil Baby, Lil Booby, Lil Scooby, Lil Doobie. Back when I was growing up, it was all about being big. Big Papa, Big L, Big Pun, big whatever. But now the adversary done took over rap so much, you got these dudes out here naming themselves like Lil Baby. They ain't nothing but a bunch of buck-broken young men that have been ruined by the adversary, now being used in order to turn our people over to the devil. But let's start in Galatians. And let's begin at 14. And we're going to read down. And then I'm going to get out of here because all I want you to do is meditate on this word and understand how this spirit, the spirit of battle rap and the spirit behind battle rap is why we are on a highway to hell. And we need to cut ourselves off from all those things that they give to us on their TV, on their radio, on their mainstream media. We need to cut it all off. And I'm not playing, but let's read it. For the entire Torah, we're starting at verse 14. Silicop, starting at verse 14, Galatians. For the entire Torah is completed in one word. In this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. See? See, I was telling you that the spirit behind battle rap, if you follow into that, we will consume each other. And what are we doing out here right now? What are we doing out here right now? We are killing each other, consuming one another. And I say, walk in the Ruach, walk in the Spirit. And you shall not accomplish the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Ruach. See, the things of this world rush against the righteousness of the Spirit. And the Ruach against the flesh. And these are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you desire to do. But if you are led by the Ruach, you are not under the Torah. And see, that don't mean that you don't keep the law. That don't mean that you don't observe the law. It just means that the law is not a burden to you. The law is not over you because you understand the righteousness and the spirit behind it. So you keep the law naturally. See? And said, but if you are led by the Ruach, you are not under the Torah. And the works of the flesh are well known, which are adultery. People out here call it having an affair. It's adultery. Highway to hell. Whoring. People out here call it safe sex, casual sex. Nah, it's fornication. Highway to hell. Uncleanliness, indecency. Does not have, or majority of our people, especially our women, walk around here with all they goodies hanging out, and they think it's natural. They just walk around with their drawers on. Okay. Idolatry. Do we not worship gold, silver, cars, clothes? Do we not worship material? Ain't it all about getting the bag and worshiping money? Drug, sorcery. Ain't majority of our people out here on lean. Ain't majority of our people out here on you know what I mean? Ain't the pill popping culture, Xannies with Future and all of that, popping pills, Percocets and all of that other stuff. Drug, sorcery. Hatred. Are we not always bickering with each other? Are we not always beefing with the battle rap spirit? Is not one man always hating his brother? Quarrels, jealousies. Do we not see this? Were we not just talking about that? Oh, they think they sweet. Jealousies, fits of rage. Like a woman that just, the Burger King was taking too long. I seen a story on my feed earlier today. The Burger King was taking too long at the drive-thru. The woman pulled up and shot through the drive-thru window. Fits of rage. Selfish ambitions. It's all about me, baby. I'm trying to get it. It's all about me. My car, my clothes, my shoes, I'm trying to get to come up. It's about me. American individualism. It ain't about the group. It ain't about the nation. It's about me. Selfish ambition. Dissensions and factions. Don't we got gang culture? Red versus blue, blue versus green, green versus orange, orange versus purple. We even got that in the nation of Yasharal. Does not one camp help? Do they help the other ones? Do they help promote the other ones? Do they work together with each other in order for us to unify and become a nation? No. Envy, murders, drunkenness, wild parties, which your Bible probably tell you is revelry, which is wild parties. The club is Satan's church, Mishpachah. That's his tabernacle. Think it's a game. And you got ignorant niggerlights out here thinking that they can hold the holiest day in a tabernacle of Satan. This is why I never joined no camp, Mishpachah. Of which I forewarn you, even as I also said before, that those who practice such as these shall not inherit the reign of Elohim, or as your King James Version would say, the kingdom of heaven. Mishpachah, the battle rap spirit, is leading us straight to eternal damnation. And with that, family, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. It's already been 3 minutes over how long I usually like to be. So, Kumar, Yisrael, Kwam Yasharal, rise, Israel. I pray this was edifying, Mishpachah. Until we meet again, Shalom Ba'ahava, Shalom Ba'ahava.